The Ahsoka series has the prospect of completely redefining the idea of a Dark Jedi, something that we're all very excited about. Greetings again, Acolytes of the Force, and welcome back to the archives. With the release of Ahsoka being around 4 months away, there is still a great deal of time we have to speculate on things that might be shown in the series. The Ahsoka series could possibly change everything, even on a galactic scale, which could affect all of canon lore moving forward. This is a good thing, as many changes brought will be introducing more characters and fleshing out concepts of the Force that need to be talked about. But one of the things in Star Wars that needs desperate attention is the idea of what a Dark Jedi is. This category of an antagonist has been sorely underutilized, and now they are finally getting the attention that they deserve in a mainstream entry. For most casual fans, anyone who uses the dark side is either a Sith or an Inquisitor, but the Dark Jedi are a breed all of their own, and the Ahsoka series may possibly give them the definition that they all need. In this holocron, we're going to talk about the traditional Dark Jedi that we've seen in Legends, and how canon Dark Jedi may deviate from this and give us something different entirely. It's not a stretch at all to say that Legends is what many fans are clinging to in the recent years. Much of what we've been seeing in canon has either not made much of a difference, or has made too much of a difference in the completely wrong direction. Many concepts of the Force have been explored in Legends that have not been in the modern Star Wars era. But there is one thing the Legends has not always been kind to, and that is the concept of the Dark Jedi. The dark side of the Force has many different kinds of followers, with the Sith Order only taking the smallest percentage. In the grand scheme of things, the Sith are technically the minority when it comes to dark side following cults. It's just that the Sith are most active and infamous for wielding it. But there are a myriad of cults and religions that center around the worship and follow of the darkness. We've talked about dark side cults and organizations in the past, but those don't really constitute as Dark Jedi. The definition of Dark Jedi is delegated to everyone who falls in between. Most of the time, Dark Jedi is the term given to anyone who is a fallen Jedi, or even a practitioner of the dark side, but has not sworn allegiance to any specific organization like the Sith, or follow any sort of religion or order. They serve themselves. Dark Jedi are usually completely independent, though there have been many cases of them following a master and apprentice dynamic, or where a group of up to 15 Dark Jedi are in one place and led by a single master. The issue with Legends Dark Jedi is that they somewhat lack an identity of their own. They can vary wildly from one case to another. Many Dark Jedi are those who are familiar with the ways of the Force and have constructed their own lightsaber, but simply use their power for selfish reasons. Reasons such as climbing to the top and ruling over a criminal enterprise, for example, but that's usually just about it. Dark Jedi are not their own faction or organization. They're a term loosely applied to those that follow and use the dark side that are not Sith. This oftentimes leads to disappointing results when it comes to crafting a Dark Jedi villain, as it seems like they're mostly just Sith pretenders and wannabes. Even the Sith in Star Wars Legends view them this way, like pretenders, and use them simply as minions. Sith usually don't bother trying to actually train Dark Jedi because they're far too selfish and lack the ambition to properly become a Dark Lord. The biggest difference between a Sith and a Dark Jedi is that the Sith are religious in their devotion to the cause, even if that cause is establishing their own rule, whereas Dark Jedi use the dark side of the Force as a convenience, and they rarely have the ambition to carry out the kinds of plots that the Sith do. Because of this, Dark Jedi are normally seen as sort of a joke, and if joke seems to be too strong of a word, a more appropriate term may be fodder. Regular Jedi are usually able to dispatch Dark Jedi without much of any issues, especially when they form a Jedi strike team, which is the usual protocol when a Dark Jedi is discovered somewhere in the galaxy. A few of the only Dark Jedi to break this mold would be Jarek, a powerful Dark Jedi warlord that almost gained enough power to threaten the entire galaxy. Jarek, though, was ultimately thwarted by the Jedi Kyle Katarn. Beyond Jarek, though, there are a few other notable Dark Jedi, such as the clone of Jorah Sabayoth and the Bafasi Dark Jedi Master that was killed by a young Minch, a member of Yoda's species. With that said, we believe canon could possibly change this. Despite everything said about Dark Jedi, they are still a powerful tool and have a great deal of potential. Just from the look of the trailer of Ahsoka, we can immediately see that there is something very different about Balin and Shin. Balin looks powerful and threatening, but also somewhat wise in a strange way. Shin looks serious and ambitious. She has a killer instinct in her eyes, but one that has purpose, not just bloodthirst for blood's sake. We also notice the color of their lightsabers, not entirely red, but rather a scarlet orange color, possibly hinting at a more complex view of the dark side than we initially thought. We intend on releasing a deep dive on the orange lightsabers, so keep an eye out for that holocron soon. But for now, let's focus on Balin and Shin. At some point in the series, it appears as if Ahsoka will be facing off against an Inquisitor, which will provide us a juxtaposition on how the Inquisitors operate within the dark side versus how these dark Jedi in Balin and Shin do. What do we mean by this? Well, perhaps Balin and Shin take a more philosophical view of the darkness, or maybe they are not after conquest, but perhaps knowledge, which will lead to greater power. We have not yet seen a dark side master and apprentice fighting side by side on screen before. Most of the time with the Sith, the master is in the black chair somewhere with the apprentice doing all the work. However, Balin is right there in the field with his lightsaber drawn just like Shin is. Whatever they want, it must be important. But again, this just goes to show how different these dark Jedi are than the Sith. Perhaps they are not so arrogant and know that they are at a disadvantage. What if we meet them and they are desperate for the thing that they desire and the two of them are willing to go all out for what they want, leaving nothing to chance? A desperate enemy is a dangerous enemy, and these two have a certain air about them that tells me that they will stop at nothing to achieve their goal. The biggest though, and most exciting prospect is the potential for some moral ambiguity with these two characters. I mentioned how Balin seemed wise, desperate, and ruthless. He doesn't have the orange eyes indicative of most Darksiders. His expression is perpetually stoic and calm, perhaps indicating that nothing he is doing is in any way personal. It's just that the people he's cutting down are in his way. The way that he patiently ignites his lightsaber after taking a traditional Jedi-like stance in front of Ahsoka shows us a man that keeps his passion in check, and perhaps was a Jedi once himself. Shin, on the other hand, has a wild and a fierce determination in her eyes and movements, as she is hiding a caged animal deep within herself, but one that she is wisely keeping under control at the behest of the master who trained her to do so. These two yet may completely change the definition of a dark Jedi and show us an aspect of the dark side that we have never seen before. Perhaps these two characters are far more gray than we initially anticipated. The bottom line is that this master and apprentice duo may completely redefine what it means to be a dark Jedi, and could in fact be one of the biggest highlights of the series, besides of course Ahsoka and Thrawn. But anyway, my friends, tell us what you think about our ideas and speculation in the comments down below. Is the idea of a dark Jedi about to be completely redefined? As always, my friends and fellow acolytes of the Force, thank you so much for watching our channel, and reach out and force crush that subscribe button. It is your destiny.